Brodes Media.
I've never felt this way about a Sixers team in my life. And yeah, I was shitting myself when they went on a 13-2 run. When I look down and I see 10-0 run by the Celtics, what are we doing? What are we doing? And Porzingis had a wide open look at the end. But I'm going to focus on the positive. This team gave a heavy dose of D, as Jim Lynam would say. They were outrageous on the defensive end. Joel Embiid with a clutch fourth quarter bucket, a fadeaway jumper. Let's be honest, for 98% of this game, the Sixers looked like a well-oiled machine against that squad, and that's a statement win to the Eastern Conference, to the Boston Celtics, and anybody else who thinks that they're going to be at the top of this conference. Hold on a second. This James Harden deal doesn't mean that the Sixers are dead. If anything, there's more options now. Robert Covington gets some deflections, hit a three as well. Batum with the dislocated finger, and his finger looks like it's not even attached to his body anymore. Then he returns to the bench. It doesn't matter. He's an option. All right, the only options that I thought were a little disappointing today, well, you got your 3-minute run of Furkan, and Nick Nurse never looked at him again. And DeAnthony Melton, I thought it was questionable to even have him out there at the end, closing things out. It was not his shooting night. He also had the turnover too, and the pressure got to him. Probably wasn't the sharpest, but they found a way. And realistically, the Sixers were never going to make it easy because they don't know how to make it easy. But this is a step in the right direction, being able to beat this team and look as good as they did. They held a very high-powered offense to just above 100 points. And without that last 4 minutes or so, I think the numbers would tell more of a story of what we watched on the basketball floor. Amazing. An amazing win. The game starts off and the Sixers are shooting 0 for 9 from 3. Couldn't buy a bucket from distance. And the weird part is, when Joel Embiid wasn't on the floor, here's the Celtics up 11. And this team fights. This team grinds. Batum hits a 3. Paul Reed with a nice move and a great finish for a dunk. They got it done by going to the bench and not having the big fella in the game. When the hell has that ever happened? When have they been able to actually succeed legitimately and make a push against a very, very deep, detailed, good, high-powered team when Joel Embiid wasn't there? It's not a thing. It is a thing now, and that's why this is probably one of the most exciting feelings I've had in a long damn time. They lost the first game of the season, and they've just been on a roll everywhere, on every single side of the court. Defensively speaking, it's so damn difficult to get off high-quality shots. And then their ball movement, their ability to move without the ball, cutting, there's always something happening that you have to pay attention to during their offensive sets. Good luck. All right, now Jason Tatum only had 16 points in this game. Brown shot 4 of 13. The Sixers have a different element, and it's funny, I was thinking, if you're someone who's been through the Sixers experience on the other side over the years, so you experienced what it was like under Doc Rivers with Ben Simmons. You've experienced what it was like under Doc Rivers with James Harden. And now you have this team with a lot of depth involved and a tactician coach. I wonder if Tatum and Brown after this game and Al Horford and Derek White, they go, oh, God, this is different. Okay, yeah, they got something real now. I wonder if they're recognizing, okay, the Sixers have entered the chat, all right, because we saw the abomination version, and maybe not. Maybe they look at those last 5 minutes and think to themselves, if we just clean up a certain couple of areas, and if we just play better for 5 more minutes in that game, then it's ours. They probably are thinking that way and just self-assessing more than they are studying what the opponent is. But I have to imagine that you can feel the defensive pressure being different. You could see the philosophy offensively and Maxey doing his thing. Maxey was outrageous, and it didn't start pretty, but you saw the ability to play close to 40 minutes against this team and only have one turnover. Every single night, I'm going to point out the fact that this young stud is going up against legitimate weapons on the other team, a scary team that's supposed to be there at the end of the season, competing for an NBA championship from all the national media attention. That's what this Boston team was, a serious juggernaut, okay, and by far better than the rest in the Eastern Conference. And Maxey puts up 40 minutes of play and has one turnover, and he goes cooking too, because the fourth quarter, a couple floaters, and even, dipped into his bag and did it all. Hit some shots from three. There was an Embiid or a call on Embiid or a foul call. Was it a foul call on the Celtics that happened against Embiid? I don't remember, but it negated a Maxey three that could have been another one added to his stat line. This is another game where the team had balanced scoring. Tobias Harris, big bucket, 17 points. He's just steady as steady can get. Pat Bev gave us that nice moment in the third quarter. It was a great finish to that quarter. But that second quarter lineup that I mentioned when the Celtics were up 11, it was Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris, Batum, and Paul Reed. And they were able to shift the energy. That matters, that you can do that when Embiid gets rest. We've been screaming about that for years. All right, well, when Embiid's on the floor, they're plus 28. When Embiid's off the floor, they're minus 77. I mean, every night for years. For years. Every year of my life watching the Joel Embiid-led Sixers. And they need to clean up what happened late. I think this is almost, weirdly enough, in a regular season game, sort of the best of both worlds. Maybe not. Maybe that's a stupid statement. What I was going to say there was, there's enough sour taste in your mouth afterwards that you're not smelling yourself, and you recognize that we were so great for so long, but we can't lose focus. It's, you got the win. The win is important. And Tobias Harris said this to Taryn Hatcher as soon as the game ended and he was getting interviewed for NBC Sports Philadelphia. We're not happy with what happened there in the final 5 minutes. And it's something where you recognize that we have something here, but the details, it becomes a highlighted talking point in that locker room, and the focus becomes heavy on that, where we did so much well. We did so many things awesome, but don't lose sight of how we finished that game. You can still utilize that with a learning curve. You know how some coaches say you learn more in a loss than you do with a win? Well, there was a part of this where you still have that learning point added to your win. You didn't lose. You got the win and you got the learning point at the same time. But, the alternative is you could have just kicked them in the teeth and dominated them, and we didn't have that freak out towards the 13-2 run, the 10-0 run. Oh, it was so scary. It was so scary. But it wouldn't be Sixers basketball without having that experience.